Hey everybody, it's Dove Hammer here, and I'm back at you with another blues harmonica tutorial. Today I am blowing a Seydel 1847 in the key of B flat, and I was playing just now a famous tune by Big Walter Horton called Easy. And the subject of this tutorial today is vibrato. What is vibrato? Vibrato is a very important tool for expression on the harmonica, not only on the harmonica, but on other instruments as well. Vibrato means vibrating. The sound means making the sound go in waves, kind of like this. As I said, vibrato is used in many, many instruments, including singing. You hear vocalists do it all the time with their voice. You hear guitar players do it. B.B. King was very famous for shaking his finger to make that vibrato. And it's an important part of turning your sound more, making your sound more special. Instead of just blowing a straight note, you do something with that long note and make it sound more expressive, more emotional. So how do we achieve vibrato? There are many different ways to make vibrato, so I thought I'd just talk to you about three that I generally use. Before I go into the three ways that I'm going to demonstrate, two things I should say. Number one, vibrato is generally used for long notes. You don't have time to do it. When you're playing very fast notes, you don't have time to vibrate it because you're moving from one to another. So it's generally used when you're going to play a very long note, or a lot of times on a slow piece of music, or at the end of a phrase when you're holding a note for a long time. Then you have time to play with the note a little bit. The other thing is that it's part of your general tone. And like anything else to do with tone, it takes time to develop. You have to be patient, and it develops and improves over time. So how do I create vibrato? Here are three different ways to make vibrato. The one that I use most often, and the one that I like the best and I find the most useful, is what I call the throat vibrato. Really, I'm creating it here. I'm making my Adam's apple move back and forth. How do I do that? Oh, it's important to say also that any kind of vibrato, you should be able to do both exhaling and inhaling. When I do the throat vibrato, it's a little bit like when I do a staccato, when I cut off the air, when I want to make a sharp note that starts and stops. When I do it with my throat, I'm doing it in my throat. I'm like doing the little coughing thing, stopping the air here. Now, if I slow that down a little bit, and I instead of cutting off the airflow completely, I just almost cut it off. I bring my Adam's apple almost to the edge, almost to where it cuts off the airflow, but doesn't cut it off completely. So when I'm doing that, I'm really feeling how my Adam's apple is coming close to closing my airflow, but not all the way. Coming close, but not all the way. And so one way to practice that would be to start by just going very slowly, doing that coughing thing, and then try to make it more and more gentle till it almost just barely touches, and then you can start feeling it. Once you have control over it, you can start practicing doing it at different speeds, and then you can do it at the tempo that your music is in. So that is the throat vibrato. The second one is probably the best known, is the hand vibrato. You've all heard it in cowboy songs. Big Walter Horton had a wonderful hand vibrato. Or when you hear John Lennon play Love Me Do on the Beatles. So how do I do that? That's very easy. You can see it. It's one of the few things playing harmonica that you can see with your eyes. I'm holding my harmonica like this, and then I'm covering. I got half a box here. I'm half of a box shape with the hand that's holding the harmonica, right? And then I make the other half with my hand. And if I'm using my thumbs together, sort of like a hinge there. So that is the hand vibrato. And the third one I was going to talk about is one that I use. I don't use it all that much, but many great harmonica players use it quite a bit. People like Carlos Del Junco, Howard Levy, I think, uses it also, and that is the jaw vibrato. It really, I'm just making a chewing motion with my jaw, opening and closing my jaw. I find this particular vibrato to be very useful for high notes. It sounds really nice to me on very high notes. So that's where I use it a lot, but I don't use it all that much. My go-to generally, particularly for low notes, sounds the nicest, the richest, is the throat vibrato. Another thing to remember about vibrato is use it tastefully. I mean, the throat vibrato is pretty subtle, so you can use it a lot and it just sounds richer. But sometimes the hand vibrato and the jaw vibrato can be very in your face, very effect-like. And if you use it all the time, if you do use it too much, it starts to grate on the ears after a while. So use it sparingly, use it tastefully. There are other kinds of vibratos as well, but these are the three that I use the most. I hope this was informative to you. I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, I'd be grateful if you push the like button down below. If you subscribe to the channel, you can see lots of other good harmonica stuff here, tutorials, also my original music, live performances, etc. I'm always open to ideas to make other tutorials. If there are certain subjects, anything that interests you about blues harmonica that you'd like me to demonstrate on a future tutorial, please write it in the comment section. If you have any questions about this one or other harmonica related questions, write them in the comment sections. I'll do my best to answer all the questions and comments. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.